to BS3 Network.
Welcome back to another episode of Locked. The Fourcast. I was thinking about another podcast I'm on, but welcome to another episode of the Fourcast. It will not be the Fourcast tonight. Wilks, aka Mayhem, is up north, and Dawk will not be on tonight, but it will be the two of us, two casts, Ben and HRap, and we are back again with another great episode, and tonight reviewing Shooting Guards, which is a great play on words with this documentary. It's Untold, and it kind of gives you the real deal and the full situation of what happened between Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton, and we're definitely gonna dive into that tonight. But HRap, good to see you, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I just got off air.
Yeah, I seen it. You're doing double duty
Every Monday, though.
Yeah. But definitely good to see you, and glad to be back on the show with you again tonight. All right, man. So Shooting Guards. We already kind of gave a gist of what it's about. It's another Untold in the Untold series. That is Netflix continues, I think, to come out with some solid documentaries, really giving you kind of the inside on stories that we remember, but a lot of it we may not remember what happened and how it happened. So I think they did a solid job with this one. But give me your initial thoughts. And then also I'll ask, do you remember like the key details? Because I don't remember the key details. I just remember the issue that happened. I remember Gilbert Arenas was really never the same again, and Javaris obviously was never the same again. But yeah,
this was excellent. I definitely remember all the details. You are misremembering. Gilbert Arenas got injured after this.
Okay.
The knee injury destroyed his career. His game didn't, he didn't just fall off. He got injured. He got hurt. He had a meniscus tear or something of that nature because it took him out. And like Penny before him, like Grant Hill before him, we pressure these dudes. We don't treat these young men like humans. We treat them like livestock.
Yeah.
And in this community,
like pieces of property.
Yeah. Exactly. In this community, it's especially shameful simply because we know our history.
Right.
So while we acting, again, like I say on my program all the time, we are mimicking our oppressor.
Yeah.
I want to be entertained more than I want to be. I want to be entertained in 2025, 2028, 2035. I don't want to just, and I think this is a product of posted how much money these young men make.
Yeah.
Because you know what you never see? And like you are a Cowboy fan, and I forgot what basketball team, like Golden State Warriors. You never heard, and Mickey Arison of the Miami Heat, he made $782 million this year.
Yeah, no. Back in the day, we didn't hear that at all. I don't remember how much Tim Hardaway made. Chris Mullin, Mitch Richmond. I don't remember how much any of them made. Jordan.
Jordan made because he's a doofus, but that's neither. Hey, I don't respect that. But you're right. What annoys me about sports today is that simply, why is it that when me and you, I'm 10 years older than you, but when when you were developing your love for sports and mine was blooming, we never heard what Magic Johnson couldn't do. You would hear once Magic Johnson get that jump shot in order, it's over.
Yeah.
Once Michael Jordan started playing defense, he'll be a complete player. You never heard he can't do.
Yeah. That's a good point.
The closest you got was nobody shooting that much has ever won a title. And up until Michael Jordan, nobody shooting that much had. So it really wasn't a knock. It's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. And in most documentaries, you know, they give you the backstory of both people. So Javaris and Arenas, and I think they did a great job at that. And my kind of initial thoughts, I was looking forward to it. I would say almost everything in this Untold series, I've enjoyed watching. Like HRap just said, I mean, I'm a sports guy. I like documentaries that really dive deep into what happened, how it happened, and interviewing the actual people involved, which they did. This is definitely not one of those where you can just interview people around it. You got to interview the people involved, you know, to really get the full story of what happened. And I was surprised Javaris was out. I mean, he got out April 2023. So, you know, which is kind of a bittersweet situation when you think of the family and the person that ended up getting murdered. But I mean, that is a story of redemption. He definitely has a story of redemption. It seems like he's doing, you know, more to, I think, redeem himself and to make his name better and also be active in the community and everything. But not surprised, you know, Gilbert Arenas grew up as a class clown. Not surprised at all. I didn't know to what degree he was like the team clown and the guy that was messing with people to the point that they're ready to fight you. I didn't know it was to that point. I thought it was more like he was, you know, the jokester, you know, the pranks and all that. But the level that this went to, I'm like, okay, I get it. Because even in today's time, he's still kind of like that. Petty, he's matured, you know, he's a father now. Well, he's been a father, but he's a father, he's a father of a son that's on the same path that he's on. So I think sometimes his perspective is changing. But yeah, give me your thoughts on the background. Did you know that about either one of them?
Well, I didn't know anything about the Javaris Crittenton. I was a fan of his game, but I didn't know anything about his life outside of the court. And I knew everything about Gilbert Arenas. I'm a gigantic Gilbert Arenas fan. I knew all of that. Gilbert has openly admitted that it's been dudes on the team that have, like, when he got to the league, it was a couple of guys that beat him up. Because, you know, not a real beat up. They were just like, shut up. You know, they beat him up because he wouldn't shut up.
Right.
So but being a former locker room person, that guy is in every locker room.
True.
That dude is in every locker room. So it's just, you know, shout out to my man Larry Brandy. He made a mistake and called me. He was trying to call his brother tonight, and he was like, "You were a signifying dude," you know. And I was like, "Yeah." And we were talking about this fight that broke out in our little crew, and everybody blamed me, so because I was that guy. So maybe that's why I like Gilbert.
So you were the Gilbert Arenas to your team.
I was Gilbert Arenas in life. Not, you know, I wasn't that jokey, but, you know, like, I have been around people and they be like, "Man, I thought you said you were the joke guy," because I got a homeboy, he lives down there with y'all. And he was like, and then you beat up dude. And every story was, and then you end up beating dude up. And then you end up beating. And they was like, "Hey, man, I thought you said you were the joke guy." And my boy was like, he was the joke guy. And he would tell people, "Don't get me started because you're going to want to fight." And so I can identify with Gilbert Arenas because, like Gilbert, I'm not biologically, I'm not an only child. because my siblings are so much older than me, I'm an only child. My developmental years are alone because they were in their teens and I'm 5, 6, 7 years old. So by the time I get 10, they're gone.
Yeah.
And it's just me and my mom. So I'm spending a lot of time with my mom. And then I'm the oldest kid. And then I'm the youngest kid. And then it's like, okay, I had all this energy bottled up. And so when I'm watching Gilbert in this documentary going, yeah, I know that guy. And that's probably why I talk so much now, because I had so much. When I start talking, I'm gonna talk.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You definitely got the gift of gab, man. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Perfect person to start a podcast. And Arenas is the perfect person. You know, he's got his own podcast. He's been on Shannon Sharp's podcast, but he's a good storyteller. I'll give him that. The dude is definitely a good storyteller. Telling, you know, sometimes telling stuff people may not want him to tell, but you know, he keeps it 1,000. No doubt about that too. But he said in this, he never met his mom. So he was raised by his father, which I was not aware of that. His dad ended up moving to California, to the LA area, became like a bodyguard for some of the major actors during that time. And he was saying it, which I appreciated it. You know, like when I was in hard times, I made people laugh, you know, and I think that's like comedy 101. When you're frustrated, when you're upset, when you're sad, that's what comedians do. And I mean, I know you're a big fan of comedians, so man, like to hear that line, I mean, I think we've heard that in other documentaries as well, but that was interesting to see.
I mean, again, I can relate, man. I mean, it's a feature of insecurity, to be perfectly honest with
you. Yeah, that's a good point.
You don't know, and I'm speaking from personal experience. I used to just joke, you know. Initially I wanted people to like me, and I grew out of that. It's like you get comfortable being alone.
Yeah, and I mean, I've known numerous guys from high school that they, you know, when I look back on it, they just wanted to be liked. In order for them to be liked, they had to be the class clown, which would affect their grades and affect their, their future. But they just wanted to be the guy that was well liked.
Yeah.
To any degree, it didn't matter. Like to the detriment of their own, future, they wanted to be that guy.
Hey man, I think I told you the story about how I went to see Raw, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to, I couldn't let Alex, Cedric, Larry go to see Raw alone. So I knew how to get kicked out of class. So I set up it, I couldn't miss that class anymore. And it was like 6th period English. And I told Larry, Alex, and said, meet me at the back door. I'll be at a minute. And she took attendance. I cracked on William Shakespeare, which really to this day, I think Miss Swanco. Yeah, Miss Swanco. I think she was dating William Shakespeare or something, because you say anything about Shakespeare, she got upset. So I was like,
she was ready. Yeah, the English teachers, man, they was ready to.
Yeah,
don't talk about
that. That was the detriment of my grades. It was just.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to athletes, a lot of times that gets that's Gilbert, and Gilbert's the star of the team, and your talent outweighs your shortcomings or your grades and all of that. And I think that, but in this situation, both of them were what it was saying, good students. They also had a good village, a good structure, helping to raise them. So, but in other stories, though, this guy is the most talented guy on the team. You don't have to worry about homework. You don't have to worry about that. You could just be the class clown as long as you show up for practice, and But this was not the case in this one.
Okay, I got a question for you. As we watch this, you see in my opinion, what do you think is the NBA's responsibility to these young men?
I think it's to teach, to train and equip. Now, it's up to the ultimately it's up to the player's choice of what they want to do. But I think they should give them the, hey, this is the guy that made it. This is the guy that now owns 20 restaurants and he's done everything well with his money. And then this is the guy over here who blew most of his money, and now he's, trying to build it back together. So I think they need to do those three things: equip, train, and inform.
I don't think they do. Because, okay, watch this. You're a sports guy. Did you know if you spent X amount of years in the NFL, your college education is free?
Nah, I did not know that.
Most NBA players don't know it. Billy Owen just graduated from college. Somebody else just went back and graduated. Rondo.
Yeah.
The NBA, he said he didn't know it.
Wow.
And I understand rookie symposiums. You just like, I'm here to hoop. But my question is this, and this for you is what this is for you and anybody else is listening. At what point do we stop telling these young men to chase the bag?
That's $1 million question right there. Because some of them, to be honest, some of them don't even like basketball. They're just doing it because they know they can make money off of it.
It's this guy.
But that makes complete sense. You saying that, why some players go back to college later on, and you're like Vince Carter. I mean, well, he did it.
Well, Vince Carter graduated.
Yeah, but I mean, there's been players that have gone back and graduated, which that's learn something new today.
Yeah, man. It's just, come on, man. You got 500,000 people vying for 460 jobs, and of those 460 jobs, at least 30 of them are spoken for. Right off at a minimum, 30 of them you can't do anything about.
Right.
So let's just go 90 of them. They can't be moved. So you come on, man. And nobody talks about the future with these young men. And people always say, well, we got to the point in the world where that's on them. What the hell is on a 19-year-old?
Yeah. And also, I mean, I'll pose this question: how much of it is on the parents or on the support system?
None.
To prepare them.
None. Because think about it, man. Okay, we are relatively astute people, right?
Yeah.
What the hell you didn't even know the NBA had free education.
Right.
And that's not a shot. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know how to handle a multimillionaire.
Yeah. You can only say so much.
Right. I mean,
you don't have the experience. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you could be the greatest parent in the world, right? Like, I assume Allen Iverson had a great mother because I've never heard anything bad about his mother.
True.
But the aesthetics, you would think Allen Iverson has a horrible. If you don't know the Allen Iverson backstory, you think his mama's not a cool person.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, are you really equipped to raise the next Ray Allen?
Yeah, there's no handbook.
Right. So how is it on me? And and I don't. Everybody's accountable for their behavior, right? But come on, man. This is, you are 40.
42.
You 42. Go back 22 years and give you $10 million. How long would that $10 million last in your bank? At that age, at 42, at 20.
At 22, yeah, probably not long.
No, not even 20.
Yeah, probably not long.
And
but I think I don't mean to cut you off, but I think mentorship is also goes a long way. Like, we have the that's why it's good for us, when you graduate or when you when you're in the workforce or whatever, you go back and you speak to the kids, or even the big brother, big sister program. I think that's where the mentorship piece comes in, which seemed like Gilbert maybe had somebody. He didn't say anybody by name.
Mark Jackson, not that Mark
Okay.
Jackson, the power forward.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, you think of players when they're interviewed later on in their career, and you're like, you know what, this guy gave me the scoop, told me what I need to do, and kind of helped me along the way. So I think that's the piece that sometimes is missing. I think they're not going to know on their own. I agree with you there. I think the mentorship piece is what was needed to, get these guys to, and sometimes, and some, and sometimes maybe they need to stay with the guy for the first year of their career, so they can fully understand what it's like.
Because I've heard Rasheed Wallace tell this story about when he was drafted by the Washington Wizards, and he on the team with Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, and he say some of the old school guys on the benches who gave him the game.
Yeah.
And if that's who giving you, how you 20 and your OG is 23?
Right. Exactly.
And it's by design.
Yeah.
Come on, dog. Like, okay, this is why I say it's not on the parent. Watch this. Your daughter's 10.
13.
Even better. Fast forward 7 years, your daughter's about to go to the NBA. Your daughter's actually your son. Did you know if when your son gets drafted by the Chicago Bulls, he has to pay taxes in Milwaukee, Indiana, Detroit, New York, Miami, well, not Miami, but Atlanta, so forth and so on?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's something I learned over the past couple of years. Every state that you play in, you got to pay taxes.
And that's why I say, no, your parent can't. Your mama don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, think about it, man. You get a $10 million. Let's say you make $10 million a year. Let's not even say a $10 million contract. You make $10 million a year, right? If you're lucky, you're taking home 5. If you're lucky.
Yeah, that's true. No doubt about that. Because when you look at somebody's contract or their rate each year, the agent got to get some out of that. The NBA gets a piece out of that. All the taxes come out of that. And then whatever bills you have comes out of that. And then whatever's remaining. So I don't, and this is why I don't fault players for wanting more money, or players that in today's time and people are like, well, that's too much money. It's not. It's really not. Because if you look at the taxes that come out, you look at the agent, you look at just in today's time and how the inflation and what things cost and their value of the player on the team. Like, if you are the most valuable player on the team, I'm not gonna say, oh, this dude shouldn't get paid that much. Like, that's they negotiated that amount, and the team decided to pay it. It's not his fault. What's up, D Great?
Hit maker. Yeah, man. It's I don't know, man. When you're looking at these situations in their totality, somebody's getting the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
And it's usually
and it's not the team or the NBA.
Right. Just like our young brother Shador. He's cocky. I don't know anything but to be cocky. I grew up, my father has a ranch.
Yeah.
My father's the most popular cat on earth. Or in the conversation.
Yeah.
What am I humble for?
Yeah. And it's a double standard.
It is.
Because you remember Eli Manning, he got drafted by the Chargers. And the Manning family was like, nah, go and get him up out of there. So, and then if you're not confident enough, they're like, he's lacking confidence. So, like, what's the prototype? It's not.
Shador was drafted, what, 155?
Yeah, way too low.
Okay, but watch this. They said he was cocky, right?
Yeah.
It was a guy that was drafted 199 that told the owner, if you don't draft me, it'll be the biggest mistake of your life. You know who that dude is?
Nah.
Tom Brady.
So if you look at last year, Caleb Williams had to have been the most cocky in a minute, man. Which I'm all for it. He wanted a part of ownership, which I'm all for that too. I'm cool with that. But then this year, you gonna say Shador? You saying Shador was more cocky than Caleb Williams? He didn't come in. He didn't come in asking for anything. Even when he dropped, he wasn't the one that was all sad about it and saying I'm all these teams on my hit list and all that. He didn't say none of that.
Well, that's what they wanted him to say.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And see, the reason I asked you that question is we're looking at young brother Crittenton. He needed some elders in his. He needed a Udonis Haslam. He needed a Tree Rollins. He needed a Cliff Leviston. He needed Eric Floyd on the team, so you could.
Right.
Forget bridge the gap. Create a bridge.
Yeah. Right. And I think when you see his story, his upbringing, he was raised by his mother, his grandmother. Good student, went to Georgia Tech. I mean, this was during the years where ACC was it. Like people say the SEC, ACC was the best conference,
flat out,
hands down. Duke, North Carolina, Georgia Tech was big during that time. Wake Forest is like non-existent nowadays. But
I mean,
that was that era.
North Carolina, excellent. Those two programs got some excellent ball players coming out of it. Duke, Grant Hill, Michael Jordan, Bob McAdoo, Christian Laettner, and others. Georgia Tech, Chris Bosh and others.
Yep. Marbury. And then you got the Demon Deacons of what's his name? Wake Forest.
Yeah. Tim Duncan.
Yeah. Chris Paul. Randolph Childress, man, who never really, man.
Yeah,
that was one of them dudes, man. Him and Ed Cota never really. Now, I'm sure they had a career outside of the NBA, but never had a career.
Ed Cota couldn't shoot his way out of wet paper bag.
That's true. Hey, he was that true New York point guard, dude. Couldn't shoot, man. He can cross you up. Ed Cota was my guy, though, man. I was a big North Carolina fan.
Dude, he played
Shammond Williams.
He played with the Nuggets for a little while.
Oh, Ty Lawson.
Ty Lawson was the gorilla.
Yeah. And he was only like 5.
A little bitty body.
Yeah, 5'11".
Taller than me.
Yeah. But but when you look at Javaris and going to the Lakers, and that was a Lakers team where it had like leaders on that team, but Kobe Shaq was already gone at that point, right? But there was Kobe. You had him and Pau Gasol actually got drafted the same year. And then you had might had Rick Fox or somebody. It was people on that team. Is the point I'm trying to make.
They had a break.
But and I think what really broke him is like he thought he was going to go to Atlanta, which probably wouldn't have been the best thing for him because that was his support system. That was people that he knew. That was people that could have helped give him that advice and things that he needed. But when you're going on a whole complete other side of the country, that's the part I think we don't consider that like you said, these people, they're humans. Like they have their support system. They have people that have helped them. When you completely take that away. You can't just expect them to say, oh, well, you got all this money. You should just be able to deal with it. And not everybody's able to handle that.
And see, that's where we fail our young people. Because this a dead young lady.
What's
and
up,
it's
John?
a damaged brother. Because let's be honest, dog. What year will it be when Javaris Crittenton forgives himself?
I don't know. He may never.
You know what? I expect him. I know the exact date. February 31st.
So never.
Never. It's children that'll be mad at him forever. He'll be mad at himself forever. It'll be like Warren.
Warren. What's up, CJ? Plays by CJ. Make sure to subscribe. Don't watch it at work. Don't turn that volume up too loud. And Cowboys season is coming up, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing the videos. Hopefully you don't have too many crash out videos, but he said, what's good? Y'all haven't tuned in a hot minute. So we're talking about shooting guards, Untold. It's on Netflix. I'll definitely say check it out. I know you're a sports fan. And these type of documentaries are kind of like short 30 for 30s. Is what kind of basically like a 30 for 30.
A long 30 for 30.
And this situation, and a lot of them are just zoomed in on different situations. So, but Javaris, and one thing he said from the beginning was, I'm big on respect. You know, you respect me, I respect you. And he, took that throughout his life. Ends up going to the Lakers. Just didn't really work out. It was on a team where Phil don't like playing rookies. It was the triangle. It really wasn't, the best fit. He ends up going there. Then he ends up going to the Wizards. And Arenas ends up going to the Warriors, which he was at the same time he was with the Warriors. And one of my closest friends worked at the Marriott, and they used to always stay at the Marriott. So we actually got to, get to know Gilbert Arenas. And that was when he was really, obviously he wasn't the star of the team, but he was kind of on his rise. He was kind of on his James Harden at that point. James Harden was in OKC, and then he ends up going to Washington, and, kind of the rest is history.
Yeah, man. This is a horrible case of lack of mentorship, lack of impulse control.
Yeah.
And we gonna suffer the consequences for the rest of the time we're on Earth, because people are programmed to do and say what they want to do and say. And we also, the greatest program they ever set was the lack of empathy program.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And it only takes one bad decision. I mean, he was Javaris, so he ends up going to Washington. And then the gun situation ends up happening, which ended up being them on a plane. They were gambling, and he was like, "Nah, you need to pay this guy." Gilbert Arenas comes in there being who he is, and then really it just got blown out of proportion. It wasn't even. It shouldn't even gone that far.
Mm-hmm.
But Gilbert, being the guy that he is, brings some guns in. I don't remember this part of the story. But sits it on his chair is like, pick one. I'm like, and Javaris is like, I'm not that guy, man. Don't play with me like that. So, but when you're just that type of, like you said, you that type of class clown, you do everything to be funny until it goes too far. It's kind of like the bully. It's a bully. You gotta punch the bully in the mouth, and then the bully will leave you alone. And that's kind of what it was.
I've been a bully.
So you're one of those guys where the little nerdy kid had to fight you and to get you.
You know what? I was the invert of that, because I used to be a coward chicken, right? So when I realized I could fight, I started fighting. I started bullying the bullies.
And sometimes you need that. Yeah, I mean, Javaris was.
Right.
Yeah. And he had hops out of the gym. I know, and he couldn't have been that, couldn't have been that tall.
He's 6'5".
Oh, okay. He looked shorter, like the way the camera angles was like.
Yeah, he's 6'5". Let me see. I think he's 6'5".
Yeah, you're right, 6'5". And then a fun fact: he went to the same high school as Dwight Howard.
Yeah,
they were on the same team together. Yeah, so. I mean, and a lot of these players end up, they kind of group together, because you look at all the talent in your city, more than likely, They're gonna be on the same either high school team, A team, or something. They're gonna be linked at some point. I know this is random, but y'all think Nico finna choose Ace Bailey instead of Cooper Flag, the first overall pick? Hell, you may pick Derek Queen the second. Nah, man. He's learned that they're not doing that. They picking Cooper Flag. It's easy.
Hey man, me personally, I think the ownership of the team in your town did this. It's the bait and switch. We want to get rid of Luka. Yeah, he's the second best player, offensive player in the league. We want to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. And if wrong place, blood on our hands. We send him to the right place, blood on your hands.
Yeah. He and I think they obviously they underestimated the power that Luka had on the city, and them making that trade. Mm-hmm. Just the interesting timing that they were able to get the first pick, which was happened 5 times before that. I got this video I'm gonna share to the group. It's an AI Nico talking about. I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it to you too, CJ.
I got an old man P.
All right.
So hold us down.
Yeah, I got you. Jungle says Javaris would dunk on you without a second thought. Yeah, man, it just had crazy hops, man.
He did look like a young HRap.
All right, HRap will be right back in just a minute. But until he comes back, I'll add him back on. But again, we're talking about Untold Shooting Guards. It's available on Netflix. And so when you look at this gun situation, which again, watching this documentary was great because I don't remember some of the key details, but Gil and Javaris ends up getting into it. They end up bringing guns to the locker room. Gil sits the guns on his chair in the locker room and says, pick one. Because he's like, Javaris like, you don't play with me like that. I'll handle you. Javaris ends up bringing his gun to the locker room, and he ends up cocking his gun. Everybody gets, shook. And the guy that had the story was Peter Vesey. Anybody that's followed the NBA at some point, you might have heard his name, but he's a journalist that was always looking for the next best story. He broke a lot of scandal stories that he was able to break because he knew somebody. He had an inside source in different situations. But Peter Vesey ends up breaking that story, and it was all hell broke loose. Which, man, if that's like the team camaraderie 101. And if you definitely don't want to have some reporter comes in there, which happens all the time, and the guy leaks the information, and then the story goes out. They would say really didn't want the story to come out, obviously.
Right. What did CJ say?
He said, facts, HRap. It's not just Nico's fault. The ownership is so out of touch with Dallas. Yep, facts. Mm-hmm. Me personally, we all know Mark would have fired Nico the second he would have came upstairs. Yeah, would have never got that far. Like they gave and this is the whole thing. This ownership is not. They're not basketball people. They're not even basketball fans. They are casino owners. They're looking at this as a business deal to help them bring gambling to Texas. That was their whole purpose, and that's why they cashed out. Cuban so major that he was like, "Oh, I'll take this deal." But yeah, it was a bad deal. It was a bad deal. But the NBA paid you back.
But the thing is, that's how you know it was an investigation. And I haven't heard anybody say this. Ain't it awful strange that he ended up in Los Angeles? You send him to LeBron. Nobody talks about the ownership not wanting to give him the $300 million. Everybody talks about LeBron getting rid of AD.
Yeah. And really, and here in Dallas, AD is like the afterthought. Like the whole story has been up until the draft lottery. The whole story has been we miss Luka. It's been nothing about Anthony Davis at all. Which his injury history is the only thing that makes me nervous, and at his age. But they'll be back. He said, bro, and they not even finna legalize gambling in Texas for like years. I'm talking about maybe 50. Yeah, it's not happening anytime soon. It's not like right around the corner. And there's a lot of, this is politics. Some loopholes you got to go to.
All you got to do is pay the right person.
Yeah. But
I mean, we live in America.
And they got enough money to do it, but there's I think there's something to where they have to wait for another, I don't know, somebody that's in office to leave office. I don't know.
The president arrested a judge.
Yeah.
What's up, Paul?
What's going on? Appreciate you for tuning in, Poetic. Let me see. I think I missed the comment. He said, Texas Rangers fan. That's like being on Gilligan's Island. You checking for Mrs. Howe. Hey, they won the World Series, man. He said, nah, they trapped my glorious King James. My glorious King James. Didn't know anything about this. Nah, I'm just playing. He knew something.
No, he didn't. I mean, okay. CJ, what I want you to do is watch 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, Carmelo Anthony's podcast. And they tell a story about how, Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith pretty much grew up together because they were on the same team together for a large portion of their career. And their friendship was almost damaged the year that J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert went to the Cavs. He said he had to have his dad talk him out of not speaking to him again because he just knew Melo knew he was going.
I didn't know Melo had a podcast. I need to check that out.
Yeah, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Super dope, man. And they talk about real things.
Yeah.
It ain't loud and bombastic like Gilbert. It ain't crazy like Shannon. It ain't.
And that's not even his style anyway.
Right.
Like, Melo never really been that type of guy.
He called himself the peace god on that.
I definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, man.
And this the way this whole trade went down, it was like a sneaky link in the middle of the night. They were meeting up at spots. Nobody had any idea. The NBA had no idea this was going down. And they did it for that specific reason so that they wouldn't get the backlash. If anything would have came out that they about to trade Luka, the whole city would have did exactly what they did, but it would have been before, and they would have probably changed their mind. So they just didn't want anybody else involved.
And the easiest way to get the eyes off you is send them to the cane.
Right. Brian sold half his shares in Colt 45. He would have the money forced to sell of the Maverick.
I ain't selling that Philly beat, man.
7 p.m. in Brooklyn is a great podcast. I'm going to check that out.
7 p.m. in Brooklyn.
Hey, man, this is that era of player is the perfect guys to start a podcast because social media throughout the majority of their career, social media wasn't really around. So like the amount of stories they have, the amount of like things that they could share is amazing.
But you know what? It's not a lot of secrets being told. Because they had Ali Sadiq on there, they had Spike Lee on there. There's not a lot of secrets. It's just
good conversation.
Yeah, it's a good conversation. It's like HRap talking to HRap.
Give me your thoughts on Peter Vesey. I remember that name a lot, but watching this, you see that this dude was a snake.
He was, and And see, again, before me and you got on air, I said that on air. At what point is the bag not the number one focus? We used to protect our superstars because we wanted our superstars to be around so we could be entertained, so you can have something to talk about, Peter Vesey.
Right.
But you threw that out the window because you look at me. And
you just wanted the latest story. That was his whole thing.
I remember around 95 when Dr. J side baby hit the world. All of the reporters got mad at the dude who broke the story because Dr. J has a daughter outside of his marriage, and she became a pro tennis player. And this dude broke the story and put it out there.
Peter Vesey?
Huh? No, Peter Vesey. Some random dude did it. It might have been Peter Vesey. Knowing him, he a creep. He a jag. Just another guy.
Yeah. And it's just not caring, not caring about the person, and he even came to the Wizards with president. It was like, give me your statement. He was like, hope you got it right. It was like, all right, I'm off the road with it. You about to New York Post at that. Peter Vesey was old school, second generation journalist. He wasn't fake like Rick Bucher, and he wasn't for the black athlete. Makes complete sense. Now mind you, they went to the Bucks first, and it was like, hell no. Yeah, you're right about that. And they tried it with the Timberwolves for Edwards, and it was like, absolutely not. And that's not even. Anthony Edwards and Luka is not even. Hell, Anthony Davis and Luka is not even in my opinion. But he just wanted to get this deal done so bad, he didn't even care. I don't even think he came back with another offer. As soon as he said, "Yeah, I want to do it," he just said, "Okay."
Hey man, I think they didn't want to give him the money. Let's get him out here.
Yeah, let's get. He's fat and overweight. Hey, Joker is the same thing. He won a championship. He's drinking a beer right now as we speak. He said in the press conference, "I'm about to go drink some beers. I'm about to drink some Mad Dog 2020 in a minute once I get back to my country." Where was the outrage when Dr. J shaved his beard and mustache?
Why do so many women have so much? Why did Dr. J shave his beard and mustache?
What's up, Big Illinois? Good to see you, man.
Confidence in the house, Big Illinois.
And so the way this gun situation that brought the guns to the locker room, David Stern was the absolute worst guy for this to happen during this particular era, because he was gonna suspend them for the most possible games he could, which they got suspended for the rest of that season. Javaris ended up coming back to Atlanta in 2010. Didn't get another job since then. I think he went to China for a minute, but he just wasn't really feeling that. And the situation, man, you come back to your city and everybody knows who you are. It don't matter where you go. People are not looking out for your best interests. He ends up getting robbed twice. And I think that type of person he was when he talked about respect, was like, nah, I need to find this person, because you don't do that. Yeah. Things end up going south from there. Let's answer this question. Do y'all like David Stern or
yes,
Adam Silver?
I like David Stern over Mr. Burns. Yes.
Man, David Stern was just a hard nose, man. I can't. I think I would say Adam Silver, actually. David Stern just tried his hardest to be the
rule with iron fist.
Yeah, the dictatorship. Adam Silver, you don't really see a lot from him. He almost lets the players do
whatever the hell.
He almost got too much power with Silver.
Hey, check it out.
David Stern was cool. I never seen that. Maybe I was too young to realize it or see it, but I ain't never seen that. That was cool. Skip Bayless was a snake during the Bulls dynasty. Skip Bayless was a snake here in Dallas. He's still he an old snake now though. I don't even think he's not even doing sports debate.
Is. Or not debate, but he's on the podcast.
Oh, this is his own thing.
It should be called Mr. Irrelevant.
It should be called the LeBron James Hater, the biggest LeBron James Hater podcast. What it should be. David Stern was good for that era, but Adam Silver is great for this era. I guess a great point. Great point. Adam Silver making the owners money, but he gave too much control to ABC, ESPN. Yes. Now it's going back to NBC. And they're supposed to have Jordan as a correspondent. Did you hear about that?
Yep. That's going to be interesting.
That is going to be. Is RG3 from Texas. I believe yes, he is. He is.
He's a hostage.
Blink twice if you're uncomfortable.
Look.
Yeah, he's from where is he from? I think it said Odessa. No, he was born in Japan, but he grew up in Corpus Cove. He said, "Yep." He said, "Disown him now." Hey, that private chat, man, $5.99 a month. All right, so Javaris was robbed twice. Ends up going to the police station. They're like, tell us who it is, and he's like, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna handle it myself. He ends up finding the guy. I think that you're just so blind with rage. It was one of those moments where you just see red, and then you got your cousin. I think it was his cousin. Like, hey man, there he is right there, man. You just go ahead and do it. Ain't nobody gonna know.
Somebody always.
Somebody, yeah. It's you, man. And the car, the license plate, like
you ain't 6'2", you ain't 6 feet.
Yeah, man. And so he ends up shooting. He didn't realize, from what is the story, he didn't realize it was two people. He thought it was just a guy. And he ends up shooting Julian Jones. She ends up dying. I don't know. I'm assuming the guy actually lived. I mean, they ain't really talk too much about him after this, but hey, you better hope. It's gonna be real. You better hope that dude get handled though, because Javaris is out. He's been out for a couple of years. So.
You don't want to run up on that young Thundercat, man. That dude's 6'5". Might have them things.
Hey, that dude not gonna be trying to fight. He gonna be trying to shoot you. Man. Ain't gonna be no fighting. But it's a bad choice. He had the option, like the guy in Boys in the Hood, man, let me out. I mean, he had the option to say, look, man, I'm just gonna go home, but you end up making that one split decision, changes the rest of your life.
Yes, indeed.
Now he ended up going to jail. I think it was for 10 years.
Yep,
and getting released. I would love to see, which I thought they were going to do this at the end, him and Gil like dab each other up, but I don't think they're at that
already. A couple years ago when he got out of jail, they were cool on the show.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it. I thought they would have did it in the documentary, like at the end they all come up and. But it seems like Javaris was saying, he's matured. I can respect him more at this point. And Gil was real about it too. Like, I had my part in this. Obviously, he made some decisions, but I had my part in it, and that's maturity. Realizing, okay, I contributed to his demise. I contributed to him being felt like this is what he had to do. So it's good to see these guys mature. Gil's doing his thing. He's got his son. His son end up getting in a horrific accident. He's better now. He's on his track to really follow in his dad's footsteps. I think he's taller than his dad too. Maybe a better shooter.
You're like 6'7".
Yeah. So I think now it changes. You know, you're not the Gilbert Arenas, the star Gilbert Arenas. You're the dad now.
Question.
Passing down that mentorship we've been talking about.
Don't this, if they don't win another championship, don't kind of taint Devin, Steph Curry's legacy?
You think does it taint his legacy? I don't think so. But they're not going to win another championship. Now. Yeah. I think his legacy is where it is. It's one of the best shooters. I think that's what his legacy. I think his legacy is. I don't know. I don't think it's linked to like being one of the best all around players. I just think it's going to being the best shooter.
Yep, I totally agree.
Top 10. You know, people forget about Craig Hodges.
Hell Ellis.
Yeah. Hell, his dad. But throw his dad in there.
Dale Curry.
Yeah.
Big Illinois moms.
Wow. Well, we're firing shots.
Yeah. It's an ongoing show for like 35 years.
But Javaris ends up getting out. I think the kind of the heartbreaking piece is the family, which they did interview the mom of Julian Jones.
Man, that was tough.
That was hard. That was hard to watch. Which is really nothing he can do. He can't. He can apologize as much as he wants. Hell, he can give him $1 million, but it's not gonna bring your family back. And they want to see him. Obviously, they want to see him rot in jail. They don't want to see him getting out. The mom did say she forgives him, but she's not gonna forget. Which I've never been in that situation, so I can only imagine the pain that you're feeling looking at your grandchildren every day and knowing that they don't have their mom. And it was a split decision that he made that could have went a different way.
It's horrible.
But yeah. But another great Untold shooting guards featuring Javaris, Crittenton, and Gilbert Arenas. I had some other people that they interviewed as well, which I thought that was good to have some other outside perspectives that weren't just the two of them. A few former players, so that was, and even what's the guy's name? Used to play for the Lakers, and he played for the Wizards. Man, drawing a blank, but anyway. Yeah. All right. So next week, we're gonna be rounding some things out. Let me see if I can get a clip. If you want to give your final thoughts. And
my final thoughts is this is a great story. This is a perfect example of what we're doing today in media. It was wonderful. It showed you the flaws, the chinks in the armor, and the unnecessary nonsense that seems like young men go through to be in the NBA.
Yeah. I think we don't really look at the person. We just look like, oh, this guy's a star. Oh, this guy, everything he's done. He's going to be an instant success. Like, we got to be real. We don't know if Cooper Flag is going to be good or not. Cooper Flag could be a straight bum in the league. We don't know, but we say this is what these people are going to be. We don't know what their maturity level is like when they get all this money. Hell, he can be coming to camp like Luka with a hookah lounge and a beer in his hand. So,
he's already doing that with the Steelers.
You really gotta think about the person. I think, and we don't do that enough when it comes to these athletes. But one side of the story, and one thing we didn't touch on too, I forgot to mention, Gilbert Arenas was basically trafficking guns on the team plane. Like, that tells you the star player. Nobody really paying attention.
Go check me, bro.
And this is only when they played against Phoenix, right? I mean, he wasn't getting the guns. He wasn't going to Phoenix and then coming back.
I wouldn't say trafficking. I would say transporting.
Okay, yeah.
Trafficking is the with the intent.
Yeah. he was just collecting guns.
Right.
And I don't know, he didn't sound like he was like a shooting guns or going to the shooting range. It sounded like he just wanted to collect.
He said that.
Yeah, he did say that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was definitely up there with the Untold series. It's told the story. Really good to see Javaris out and good to get his perspective. Also, they gave the other side of it, like, hey, he killed somebody. This is the mom, and this is how she feels about it. This is how she's dealing with it, and it's still hard. Like that's gonna be hard for the rest of her life and the kids' lives. But I appreciate her for coming on and doing this documentary to really share, how she felt, because that's not easy to relive and to go back through. So yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it. I would give it a 4, like a solid 4. Same thing.
Yep.
All right. So next week, we are going to do Ali Sadiq, my 2 sons, and it may be the 2 of us. I don't know, depending on.
Wilks don't like comedy, so maybe not.
But this, and I've watched a few of his comedy specials that he has. The dude is hilarious and an excellent storyteller, man. This dude can tell. I'm looking forward to the stories kind of more than I'm interested in laughing, because the dude is just able, the way he tells stories is, and he definitely has that.
It was insane.
Yeah, and he definitely has that that Dave Chappelle to him, when you're pretty much on the edge of your seat, just looking forward to waiting to hear what he's about to say. And so it's called My 2 Sons. I'm gonna get a clip here in just a second. But yeah, give me your thoughts on Ali Sadiq. Is he where does he rank in your comedians?
Okay, I can't tell you where he ranked because I'm creating a show around rankings.
Okay.
And I don't want nobody stealing. I ain't being funny. I'm not being facetious at all. I think he's this generation's Bill Cosby.
Wow, that's strong.
I never seen him put no pills in nobody's cup. No, I'm just playing.
Sprinkle me, man. What's that over there? But the guy is, I underestimated his comedy. The guy is hilarious. All right, so we got a clip here, or we're gonna review next week. We'll be right back. Close it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ali Sadiq.
Just came out last week.
Mother's Day.
Like a guy doing comedy sitting down. Like that's a different technique, because most of the time you walking around, you got a drink in your hand. Yeah, Bill Cosby. Yeah, and didn't there was another Dick Gregory? Didn't Dick Gregory do?
Fix me some of that Dick Gregory.
Yeah. what's
Anthony. Warren, Anthony, and Anthony.
The law firm, Anthony, and Warren.
It works.
All right, so next week, Ali Sadiq, My 2 Sons. Make sure to check that out. And all of his comedies are on YouTube. He is he's growing his channel. He's almost at 865,000. So go to subscribe, go to watch it. I mean, it's free. But he's definitely making his.
You know, HRap channel too. If y'all want to go over there and subscribe.
There you go, definitely.
Okay.
Subscribe to all these channels right here. I'm about to put down below. BSC Network, Queen 3 and King, the Fourcast, and the End of the Bench Media. Make sure to subscribe to those. HRap had a show today. What was that about?
I drew the parallels in Malcolm X's life and history of the world, the history of Black world. Took it all the way back to the original name of Africa, which translates to Garden of Eden. And I walked you through life and showed you how this is important. You know, he is important. His actions are important. We're all important, but these things are needed.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we will be back next week. It'll be a combination of 2 to 4 of us, but we will be doing Ali Sadiq. So check that out. I think it's less than an hour, an hour and 16 minutes. And definitely check that out. We'll be back next week. If you want to go ahead and close this out, HRap.
Dream those dreams, and man, I'm more to believe those dreams, because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor surround sound. And that just made me being woke 24 straight hours.
Wow. Man, get some rest. Peace.